Hi, my name is Katarina Sullivan and I would like to welcome you to my YouTube channel. Obviously, there are a number of things I need to address before we start this video, and I'm going to run through them super quickly so we can actually get into politics. Firstly, I would like to apologize for the sound quality. I've lost my mic connection for my camera, and yeah, it's been one of those weeks, guys, honestly, and I appreciate your patience. Secondly, I would like to apologize that you can't tell where my jumper ends and the furniture begins. Obviously, I like pink. And I had to wear this because my beautiful mother crocheted it for me from hand for my birthday, and it even has a drum roll, a hoodie. And I swear if I ever got back into boxing, I would be having like this as my like coming out to box thing, representing my mom. The most obvious thing I have to address is my absence from YouTube and social media in general for a little bit. If you do follow me on social media, you would know that I had brain surgery in June of this year. Yes, I still have all my hair. The technical term for what I had is a endoscopic transphenoidal resection of my pituitary gland. So they went up my nose with tiny little camera, tiny little instruments, and hacked out something that was like between here in my brain. Something that shouldn't have been there. I'm feeling much better now. So many of the symptoms that I was experiencing have just disappeared. The main one has been the headaches have gone. I was getting migraines about once every between 2 to 4 days, I guess. And I haven't had a headache since 3 weeks post-op, which has now been about 2 months. So super exciting. I have to get another MRI done to make sure that I'm feeling as good as what it's looking in here. But yeah, loving life. Thank you so much for your patience, and for everyone that did reach out because they knew about my surgery. Thank you so much. And I'm just excited to get back into politics. It has been a really weird few months for me to just go missing. A weird few months to be a patient in hospital for something other than COVID-19. But I'm not going to touch the current political situation because there is so much to cover from the last 6 months. I don't really know where to start. But if you do have any specific questions about politics over the last few months, please let me know. I will be hesitant to comment on policy. Like if you say, do you think XYZ is a good decision? I will comment on it from a political point of view, not from a policy point of view. Just because I do work with people from all different political parties in Parliament House, and I like to, keep it that way. I'm not gonna do too much of what's happened policy-wise over the last 6 months. But if you do have questions, please feel free to If you do have questions, please feel free to reach out, and I will do my best to help you. So last video I actually did like 3,000 years ago was about the Governor General, and I promised that we'd talk about the Federal Executive. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna say this so many times, I'm gonna get tongue-tied. The Federal Executive Council? Federal Executive Council, yeah. So according to section 62 of the Constitution, we have a Federal Executive Council of Australia. This Federal Executive Council's duty is to advise the Governor General. The members of the Federal Executive Council are made up of basically all current ministers and assistant ministers, also sometimes known as parliamentary secretaries, although that term's not really used too much anymore. The Governor General is the one who appoints the members of the Federal Executive Council. Once you become a member of the Federal Executive Council, you are signed up for life. It is a lifetime membership for only $1 a day. I'm kidding about it, it's not $1 a day. Once you're a member of the Federal Executive Council, you receive the title of Honourable. The Governor General has the power to dismiss people from the Federal Executive Council for any reason really, but it's not ever done. Like a couple of times it's been done. We can talk about those. But it doesn't necessarily mean that just because you're a member of the council, you're active, because obviously a retired politician probably isn't gonna go to every single meeting. I don't think there's ever been a Federal Executive Council meeting where everyone's actually been there. The minimum number of people required to have a meeting is 2 plus the presiding person, which is usually the Governor General. If the Governor General can't make it, they appoint a deputy in their place, which is usually a minister. Usually a minister. It can be an assistant, but it's usually a minister. Our current vice president of the Federal Executive Council is Senator Matthias Cormann. There's no policy discussed at these meetings. They basically advise the Governor General on directives for the country. How is this different to Cabinet? Cabinet does not include the Governor General. The Federal Executive Council is purely set up to transfer advice from the parliamentary area of government to the state. And by this I mean not like states and territories, but like head of government, head of state, which we sort of spoke about last video, and I think maybe the video before. I'm losing track of videos now. Anyway, the other difference is Cabinet is not always made up of all of the ministers and assistant ministers, whereas the Federal Executive Council is. Now, when meetings are called for the Federal Executive Council, as I said before, not everyone shows up. There is a minimum of 2 plus the presiding person. So if the Governor General isn't there and their deputy has to step in, then that means that there's got to be obviously that minister plus another 2 ministers or assistant ministers. Depending on what the meeting is largely about is who attends. So if there is a meeting on the healthcare sector, you would kind of expect the Minister of Health to be there. The Prime Minister, of course, also makes up part of the Federal Executive Council, providing advice to the Governor General. How often does the Federal Executive Council meet? It depends really. It's usually about every fortnight, and they meet at Government House in Canberra, which is where the Governor General has his place of residence here. Or hers. I keep doing this because we currently have a male Governor General. I'm like, his. But we have had female Governor Generals in the past and they have been amazing. It is not a gender specific role. Part of the reason for the Federal Executive Council, other than to just provide advice to the Governor General, is also to make sure that everything that government does is being done legally in terms of what the Constitution sets out and what the laws of Australia are. So it is sort of an administrative type thing. No policy is discussed here. There's no debating back and forward about what should we do. It's sort of decided prior to the meeting of the Federal Executive Council, and then everyone comes in, they're like, so this is what we think is happening, should happen, this is what we suggest you doing, and then it goes from there. So the exception to the whole like remain a member for life thing was Senator Scheele. So on the 20th of December 1977, Senator Scheele was appointed to the Federal Executive Council without a portfolio. But on the 22nd of December of that same year, so 2 days later, he was removed based on some of his comments on public policy. What did Senator Scheele say that got him kicked out? He jumped on radio and stated his support for the South African apartheid system, which was not consistent with what the federal government saw at the time. And so they were like, yeah, no, not happening, mate. And he was gone. So there is the power to say, actually, thanks for joining, but you can't sit with us. So that was a big point of controversy in Australia, and obviously it's gone down the history books because it is the instance where the Governor General has actually gotten rid of someone from the Federal Executive Council after they've been sworn in, because being sworn into the Federal Executive Council is a prerequisite for becoming a minister. I feel like that was an incredibly quick crash course, but there's not really much more to say without overcomplicating it. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comment section below. Next video, we're talking about Gough Whitlam and what happened there, because I promised you last video that I would do it. As always, please like the video, share among people, Facebook, Twitter, all of the social media things. What else? else should I advise you to do? Follow me, please, on social media. If you're interested in hearing more about politics, which I would like to think you are after actually coming to see this video, you can listen to the Politics Done Differently podcast, which is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and a whole lot of other podcast platforms, so do not give me an excuse that you can't find it. But if you can't find it, there is also a link below that will give you the links to all of those sites, so you can come hang out with me and some of the politicians I work with, and we can chat policy, personal lives, sort of anything's on the cards, and it's a whole lot of fun. Until next time, keep informed, keep reading, feel free to message me with any questions, be cool, and stay safe, wear your masks, and wash your hands. Thanks, bye. How is this different to cabinet? Cabinet